What's up, traders? Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing well and that you all had a good trading week. I just wanted to briefly apologize for the lack of recaps this week. Getting ready to move into a new spot, so just a little bit busier than usual. With that said, I have another daily market profile recap for you, and today is Friday, November 20th. For those of you who are not familiar, I release these trade plans every day in our Facebook group for free, which you can find in the description below. And these trade plans are based on market profile for the ES futures market. Now with that said, let's get into the key levels for today. First key level that I was looking at was the overnight high from the most recent overnight session, which was 35.8250. Second level was the 35.7375 level, which was the overnight high from the previous overnight session. The third level was 35.6225, which was the November 19th point of control. And last but not least, the last key level that I was looking at was 35.4825, which was the November 19th value area low. Now, there were no high impact events today, but with that said, we did have some good volatility. We had a lot of good opportunity, and especially if you were paying attention to the profile levels. So let's get into the summary. Overnight inventory was short when I started writing the trade plan. Now, what that means, for those of you who are not familiar, is that the overnight profile, or the overnight price action, which is this blue profile here, is majority below settlement price. So you can see that this profile here, this blue overnight profile, is majority below 35.80. So that means that overnight inventory is short. Now, when overnight inventory is short, typically the higher probability play is for New York session to fade the overnight and we get pressure to the opposite side, which in this case would be upside. With that said, we need to determine how price opens based on the profile to determine the higher probability play and whether or not we are likely to get directional conviction or trending price action. So going back to the trade plan here, you can see that we are looking to open within range but out of value. When we open in range and out of value, this means that the market is still relatively balanced, but not as balanced as if we were opening in value. Because of this, I will be looking for a range today that is similar to the previous day's range, but overlapping to one side. Now, what that means is that I was looking for one extreme from yesterday to hold. And with that said, when one extreme from the previous day holds, typically we get a very similar size range to the previous session. So you can see here that what ended up happening is we had the low of the previous profile be the low of today within 2 ticks. Now, that didn't happen until way later in the session. You can see that P period, N period, and then finally Q period pushed down and ran these lows at the end of the day. Now, what we were looking for is, again, an extreme from a previous session to hold. So you could say that if the extreme that was going to hold from the previous session was this high, 35.8275, that we were likely to get movement down 40 points back towards this low, which is exactly what happened. So if you've seen my previous videos where I've calculated the next session's range based on the previous session's range, you can see that this area ended up holding, and we almost got a near identical range to what we saw yesterday. Now, with that said, we opened outside of value, which means that we are opening outside of the value area here. The value area, for those of you who are not familiar, this is where 70% of the session's trading activity takes place. This is the point of control. That's where the most trading activity takes place in the entire session, just for reference. Now, I was looking for ranging price action throughout the day, and I was looking for ranges or a range between 2 previously known levels. Now you can see that throughout most of the session, this point of control, it was actually a naked point of control, held as the low for a large majority of the session, and this held as resistance for a large majority of the session. Now, that offered up very nice range plays, and you can see if we go over to our regular chart here, if I zoom out and go back to the open, which is right here, here's our opening range, Just delete some of this stuff here real quick. We had very nice opportunity off of these profile levels, especially this POC from the 19th combined with Fibonacci pivot point PP. That was a really nice level. You can see that we even got divergence at this level. I mean, this is one of my favorite plays, just to give you guys an idea. And not only did we have divergence, we had divergence on multiple oscillators. Let's see, I'll move that over here. Boom, we got div, lower lows on price, higher lows on the oscillator. And we also had block buys coming in here, 500 block buy, 477 block buy, 272 block buy. So just, I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but when I see big orders coming in at a profile level, and I see a profile level that also coincides with a Fibonacci pivot level, and I have divergence there, incredibly high probability play. And I did indeed actually take a trade off that for what it's worth. So, not to go too far on a tangent, but that was, I think that was one of my first plays of the day, and a very high probability play. You know, div at a profile level that lines up with a fib pivot. So going back to the profile, I will read you guys the next part of the trade plan. I'll go ahead and pull it up here as well. So today I was going to be looking for acceptance above the range high or the overnight high yesterday at 35.8275. So this level right here. If price can hold or move and hold above that level and use that as support, I was going to be looking to take long scalps to these levels, previous profile levels higher. You can see here, you know, I got 85, 90, 3600, 3604, etc. So that was going to be my line in the sand, and I thought that we were going to get directional conviction to the upside if we broke that level. Now on the flip side, if we could not break that level, I was going to look for a rotation to the lower profile levels from yesterday, which is exactly what we got. We could not even get up to the overnight high or the range high from yesterday, and we got some nice selling and eventually some bracketing or ranging price action. Now scrolling down here, you can see in the scenario section, I say upon open, I'll be looking to see if we can get acceptance above that 35.82 level. If we can hold that level, I will be once again looking for targets higher from the previous profiles, and if not, I will look for shorts down towards the November 19th value area high, which was this 35.6825 level. Let's get rid of this so you can see it more clear. This level right here, and POC, which was 35.6225. So now if we move down into the summary, just give me one sec, let me adjust this. You can see that we have some targets here to the upside and to the downside. Now based on this line in the sand of 35.82, my upside targets, just to reiterate, were going to be 85, 90, 3600, 3604, and 3611. None of those got hit because we were not able to move above that 35.82 level. Now, because we held below that 82 level, my downside targets got wiped out very, very nicely. First downside target was 35.80. Now, if I throw my drawings back up here, you can see that 35.80 was the settlement price from November 19th. So that was an easy downside target to have. Just a couple quick points there. And my second downside target was 35.7375. Now 35.7375, just to clear the profile up again a little bit, you can see that I have this level right here. This was the overnight high from the overnight session of the 18th moving into the 19th. Third downside target was 35.6825. 35.6825 was the value area high from yesterday's regular trading hour session. Right here, you can see this level. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a little bit better picture. So line in the sand was right up here. My thoughts were if we could not hold this, I was going to target 80, which again was settlement. Second target, was 73.75. Third target here was the 35.6825 level. And the fourth target was 35.6475. And you can see right here that 64.75 was the initial balance high from yesterday's session. Now, the initial balance high is just the high of the first hour's range. And you can see that I have, once again, the initial balance highlighted in green, the prints, so I can very quickly visually see, okay, this is the high for the first hour, this is the low for the first hour. And for those of you familiar with market profile, this is a really quick indication and a quick visual reference where the IB is, and then you can determine where price is likely to go. If we escape the IB, if we have a wide initial balance, we're likely to get a smaller rest of the day's range, etc. So there's a lot of information and strategies that you can gain from knowing where the initial balance is and where we are in relation to the current initial balance and the previous initial balance as well. So with that said, my final downside target was 35.57 even. Now you can see that that level was the point of control from the overnight session. And that was actually my final downside target because I was looking for one of these extremes to hold. So I was thinking that this was likely to hold, this was likely to hold, and we actually got a flush below all of these levels. So we got a nice move down once again in the very later periods of the session, tapping the liquidity from the overnight low, tapping the liquidity from the 19th regular trading hours low, and tapping the liquidity from the overnight low from the 18th into the 19th session. A lot of liquidity, a lot of orders are sitting down here if this area hasn't been touched. You can see that we also have single prints, which means there's poor structure, which means that it's very likely that price is going to come back down into that level and repair it or fill it out or do more business there. So with that said, we can flip back over to the regular chart. All right, so just to quickly recap, looking at the standard chart and the market profile at the same time here, you can see we opened, here's the 1 minute opening range that we like to use. We had a little bit of divergence here that I had marked off, nice move off of this previous level that I had drawn. And you can see that we proceeded to move down into these profile levels a little bit. We had VWAP coinciding with the value area high or very close to it. Offered up some more divergence here right around the initial balance high, just looking for divergence, looking for high probability plays at or around profile levels. Then price proceeded to move back up, retest value area high, move down to this POC. This was one of my first trades of the day that I took. I think I might have mentioned it earlier, and this is basically how I traded throughout the day. I was just trying to look for divergence at major levels, looking for good oscillator structure at major levels, and waiting to see if we were going to get some directional conviction, also known as trending price action. We didn't really get much trending price action until towards the end of the day, and I was done trading by then, so I wasn't really paying attention to price that much. But you can see that price moved throughout our targets fairly quickly. You can see here was that 73.75 target. We hit that, almost instantly upon open. Moved down through the 68.25 level, which was that value area high. That next target was the 35.64.75 level, which was the initial balance high. So we moved through that quickly, and then I had 57, and we didn't actually visit 57 until later in the session when we got a little bit more directional conviction. So this was about, about 3:15 p.m. Easternish, and once again, got some divergence at a major level. We got overnight point of control coinciding with the second lower deviation of VWAP. Very high probability play right there. We got a higher low, and off she goes. So today was a pretty good day. Was lots of ranging. You had to be patient. You had to be quick with taking profit for the most part, or patient to let your trades play out. It was one of those days. And it was a day where if you could use the information that the profile was giving you, you had a lot of high probability setups. Lots of reaction. Short here, long here, another long here. Reaction at the initial balance. Lots of action at the value area high. Lots of action at the overnight high there. So a lot of high probability setups, especially when using this information from the profile and this information from our oscillators or from something like the opportunity zone or the VWAP bands, and using everything in conjunction to give you the highest probability setups, the highest probability opportunity, and the best and most precise entries. So with that, let's just go back over to the profile one more time and recap our targets, and we will wrap up the video here. So just to quickly mention, we did not get any of our upside targets hit because we did not move and hold above this 82 level. Now, downside targets. 80 was our first one, but we technically hit 80 in the pre-market and didn't hit it in the regular trading hour session. So consider that, if you will. The next downside target was this 73.75 level right here. Overnight high from the 18th into the 19th. The third downside target was 35.68, the value area high from November 19th, the previous regular trading session. The fourth downside target was the initial balance high from that same session, November 19th, which is, to reiterate, the high of the first hour of the session. And last but not least, that last downside target was 35.57, which was the overnight point of control from the 19th into the 20th overnight session. Now, with this information, as I'm sure you guys can see, especially if you've watched my previous videos, especially if you've watched my scalping videos, etc., I get really high probability trade opportunity on a daily basis with this information combined with these tools. And I use these on a daily basis to not only give myself confidence in my edge, but to ensure that no matter the market condition, no matter the news, no matter what's going on, I have a setup. I have multiple setups, and I have a system that I use to determine what play I use based on the market environment. I have trending setups that I use my trending indicators with, the opportunity zone. If we're in a trending market or if we are having trending behavior, I'm looking to go short in the opportunity zone. And if we have, on the flip side, an uptrending behavior, or let's see if we can find something a bit more clear, something like this, I'm looking to play, my trending strategy. Trend is friend if we are in a clear trend. Now, when we're in a range, which is what we were doing most of today, I'm really just going to be looking for div at major levels. Initial balance, point of control, value area high, etc. So with that said, take this information, join our Facebook group, grab the trade plans, mark up my levels from the trade plans, and just watch how price reacts to it. I guarantee that you will be very impressed with the reaction to these levels, and furthermore the opportunity that you will get if you plot these levels on your chart. I hope you guys enjoy these market profile videos. I hope you enjoy watching me scalp and hearing me discuss order flow, market profile, and what gives me a technical edge in the market on a daily basis. If you guys do enjoy this content, please click like and subscribe down below. Please also check the links in the description below once again, where you can find our free Facebook group where you will access these trade plans based on market profile for the ES futures market. We also release trade plans for the NQ futures market as well, every morning, Monday through Friday, around 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You can also find access to our website in the description down below, where you can get one-on-one mentorship with me. You can watch us trade, me and our team trade live Monday through Friday at New York Open every day, live on Discord. You can ask us questions, you can pick our brain, live voice chat while you watch us trade. You can also get access to the proprietary indicator package that you see here in this video. And last but not least, you can also find access to the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, which is our brand new comprehensive course that we have just released. This course includes information on these two strategies that we have briefly discussed, the opportunity zone, our trending strategy, and what we refer to as the momentum flip, which is our ranging strategy. If you guys are interested, once again, please hit like and subscribe and check out those links down below. And thank you very much for being a part of the Trading Network. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.